Welcome back, everybody. We are continuing to solve quadratics, and the next method that we're going to talk about is completing the square. So what does it mean to complete the square? We want our last number. So we have ax squared plus bx plus c. So this c value, the very last number, to be a perfect square. Remember, perfect squares are numbers where we can take the square root and not have a decimal. So a few examples would be 1, 4, 9, 25, 81, 100, and so on. So if we're looking at x squared minus 10x plus something, to have a perfect square at the end, it has to have two factors that are exactly identical that add to negative 10. So what are two identical numbers that could add to negative 10? Well, that could be negative 5 plus negative 5. So negative 5 times negative 5 would be 25. 25 is a perfect square. The square root of 25 is 5. And if I do 5 plus 5, I get 10. So let's take a look at these. We have 8. So I need two identical numbers that add to 8 that also multiply to a perfect square. So we have 4 plus 4. That would make 8. And 4 times 4 is 16. What about two identical numbers that will add to the 14? Well, I think 7 plus 7 would work. And 7 times 7 is 49. Negative 12. Negative 6 plus negative 6 is negative 12. And negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. So in general, what are we doing? Well, 4 is half of 8. 7 is half of 14. And 6 is half of 12. On the last slide, 5 was half of 10. And remember, this middle column here is b of x. And ax squared plus bx plus c. That middle column is b of x. So basically, we're taking b, dividing it in half, and then squaring it. What if the b value is odd? Perfectly a-okay. We'll have some fractions, but we are not scared of fractions. So we take half of negative 3. That's negative 3 over 2. We're going to leave it in fraction form and square it. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. 2 times 2 is 4. Half of 9, 9 halves. Square it. 9 times 9 is 81. 2 times 2 is 4. Don't forget, there is a number in front of this 1 at the bottom. It's 1. So we take half of that, and we have 1 half. Square it. 1 squared, 1 times 1 is 1. 2 squared is 4. So, a few rules before we get started practicing these. Rule number 1, you cannot have a coefficient in front of x squared except for 1. It has to be a 1. We are always going to move our c value to the right of the equal sign. We don't want it to be equal to 0 anymore. We need to make room to put in the perfect square that we want so we can factor. Whatever you add to one side, you must add to the other. This one is so important. Probably the one that gets missed the most often. So make sure you highlight this part for yourself. Whatever you add to one side, you have to add to the other, otherwise you change the problem. Let's try